Welcome everyone to Together Tuesday. It's been a while. Today we're going to be covering a couple of things. Robin McCarty is with us. Hi, Robin.
Hi, good afternoon, Kevin.
And we also have Melissa Mintz with us. Hi, Melissa.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, Robin.
And I think Abby's on vacation, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, she's on vacation. So here's what we're going to be covering today. First of all, Robin's going to be covering how to use Inscape's recommendation engine and set up report profiles inside of Inscape. So I think you're going to find that really interesting. And then I'm going to show you the Microsoft roadmap and what's new on it, what's pretty cool stuff that's going to be coming out this month or next month. So very, very soon. So with that, I'm going to hand it over here to Robin, and I will stop sharing, Robin, so that you can start sharing.
Very good. Thank you, Kevin. So thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm going to share my screen here. And if I can just get a confirmation that you can see my screen.
I can see you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So, I hope everyone here is familiar with our Inscape platform. This dashboard is not new to you. We have, the Azure and now AWS, cloud cost management functionality that we're going to speak to today is regarding the recommendations. So I'm going to be focusing on this service here. And, as we always want to let you know, if there's anything that's outside of our topic today, please reach out to Melissa or Abby, your CSAs, to educate or help direct you on any of the other services. But today we're going to talk about the cloud cost management and specifically the recommendations. So from the cloud cost management, when you first navigate, you'll be at your dashboard of your cost reviews. And in my demo environment, I have both an AWS and Azure environment populating here. We've connected previously to these two service providers. Very shortly, we will be announcing officially we're connecting into the GCP model. So today, for today's purpose, we're just speaking to AWS and Azure. And your recommendations are going to fall under on the left-hand side on this advisor drop-down. And we have just a dashboard. It has the ability for you to select, again, because I have both Azure and AWS. By default, it's going to show me recommendations for both service providers. But you can filter out to, if you're just in charge of the Azure, you can filter that way. And this is my cost optimization is obviously just for my Azure, but we can drill down even farther if you wanted to, if you have multiple subscriptions. And it's letting you know 5 hours ago is when our last refresh for recommendations came through from the provider. So the recommendations view is now going into the details of we had a quantity on the dashboard page. What are those different recommendations? And we have it broken out by different categories, of warnings, the impact level, whether they're low, medium, or high, things that are warnings, and then even, some errors that might be populated by the AWS or the Azure provider. So what we like to recommend our clients do, because we admit if you have a big environment, this can get a little overwhelming if your job role is specific to one subscription or one resource group, and you need to focus on that. You don't want to see all the noise of everybody else's subscriptions. We recommend that you create a profile. And so here on the profiles, you can create up to 20. If you want to create them on behalf, if your job role is to help create these for the business leaders in your organization, you can certainly do that. You can create the name So maybe I'm going to make a, this is Melissa's profile, right? And I'm going to search, and I'm going to make her just be the Azure, right? She's in charge of Azure. And I can even add even further, maybe she's just going to be for a specific region or a specific subscription. So you can see here what your choices are. I'll pick her subscription. She's going to be in charge of the UAT, right? And then you can go beyond that. Now you can add an additional region if you had different regions further inside the subscription. So it can get pretty granular. And with this profile setup, we can proactively send to Melissa her recommendations, right, for her to take a look at. So we have a choice of daily, weekly, or monthly. I think I'll start with weekly. And you can select the day of the week. Perhaps it's something that she should check out on Mondays, every Monday of the week. And I can add her email address, and then she'll start to receive them. We can receive up to, 3 people can be associated to this profile, a group email, your choice.
Can I ask a question, Robin?
Mm-hmm.
Can you specifically, like, let's say I'm the security guy, can I only have security recommendations sent to me instead of all the recommendations?
So that's a future state right now.
Okay.
But we have that on the roadmap.
Okay.
So it's more right now. It's just on the resource level, the subscription level. But yes, the fine tuning of I need to see everyone's security, recommendations versus just a single resource. Yes, that is in the future.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. So since I created Melissa's profile here, it's going to default, me to see it right now. And so you saw where it had AWS previously. Now I'm just restricted to the Azure and specifically to the UAT. So as the Monday rolls around, right, next Monday, which I hope Melissa's enjoying a backyard barbecue on 4th of July, but she'll receive an email with her recommendations. And so let me just bring that into view. Here's a sample of an email with the recommendations, being brought forward on that schedule that's been previously created. This is my report profile that I had already established. And for the AWS profile that I have on the left-hand side, I have some cost optimization, some that I did already. I have some warnings. And by the link here, click here to get more details, I'll be brought into Inscape to drill into what are those additional recommendations that are out there. On the right-hand side is an example of my Azure recommendations, and this again is based on my report profile that I've already created, and I've asked it to send it out to me on the Monday, of the week. And again, I can see now on my Azure side, I have a little bit more of a breakdown. Each provider has a different way of presenting the recommendations, and we're in line with their naming conventions. And on the Azure side, I have a few cost optimizations that I can do in a high availability recommendation that I can deploy if I wish. If you receive these, and sometimes you're going to review one and just say, what is being recommended, I don't want to do, right? Sometimes it might try to recommend you get to a 100% utilization, and you're not comfortable with that. Your business is saying, no, we want, like 80% utilization is where we want to be. Then you can ignore that recommendation so it doesn't, keep showing up on your list. So to ignore a recommendation, click the little icon, and then it magically disappears. But if you do that on accident, you can look at them by clicking on the show ignored, right? And then you can bring it back into view. So,
can I ask you another question, Robin?
mm-hmm.
What level of authentication do I need? In other words, do I have to be a global administrator to see this? Do I just need to have read access? What do I have to do so that when I send out these recommendations that people can see them and maybe even act on them?
It's a good question. So to have this visibility, you do need to have the Inscape cloud cost management deployed to your environment, whether that could be Azure and AWS or either or. The Azure side to deploy, we have some instructions here. It's a read access that Inscape will need to your Azure subscriptions. And we have documentation on what to click, basically, and how to get that configured. On the AWS side, there is don't want to mess up the word, a cloud, I say a cloud formation template that has to be deployed. And again, it's a read access. Actually, AWS will provide the information to Inscape after that template is deployed. And then from an Inscape perspective, who can access inside Inscape and see this? The RBAC role would be controlled within Inscape, and your users need to have visibility to the cloud cost management service, and that will allow that user, to log in and see these recommendations. But if they do not need to be a global administrator, just a global administrator or the AWS person that has the root access to deploy that cloud formation template would be required to do that initial setup.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So if there's any help that you need getting this set up for your environment, please send us a note. We're happy to get on a call and do one-on-one work with you to get this configured, get these profiles set up. As you saw, that it was pretty simple to create Melissa's profile, but if you need to make a change, you can come over here and we can delete it, right? I think we should looking for where's my edit. I had an edit button, so I gotta go check with the team where the edit went. So you can adjust, previously made profiles, but you can create up to 20 profiles. We haven't found a person yet that needed more than 20, but if you do, please let us know.
I'm always asking questions here. Does this tie into Anomaly at all? In other words, I know Anomaly, when something happens, it shoots out alerts, but does that also populate this recommendation field, or are those two things completely separate?
So those are separate services. They use the same back end access, right? So if you're setting up cloud cost management, it's the same as being able, the same reader access that would be required for Anomaly. So you can look at Anomaly, though, here is going to send out its own alerts, because this is specifically looking for those spikes in your spend based on your past
history,
and how you're consuming the resources. So this is independent of those recommendations, but they work very well together. Still read access or that cloud formation template that you would deploy in the other service, or it's the same back end.
So if you deployed it for Anomaly already, do you have to redeploy it for the recommendations?
No, you should just need to be able to click on Cloud Cost Management and consent to that service. And if the data feed is already coming in, it'll just take about 24 hours to read that data specifically to parse it out for Cloud Cost Management, and your data should be there.
Oh, perfect. Okay, that makes it easy.
think that's my 15 minutes. So I will turn it over to you, Kevin, to go through the future Microsoft roadmap.
Okay. Well, thank you, Robin, very much. And please, any questions that you might have, I ask a lot of questions when I don't know anything. You could put them here in the chat box. We'll try to answer them during this, or get back to you afterwards. And obviously, you can always get a hold of Melissa or Abby or myself or anyone here on the MessageOps Sirius team, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have about Inscape or really anything Microsoft that we can help you with. So let's get a quick look here at, okay, well, this is the profiles. This presentation, obviously, we'll give you a link to it at the end of this. So this way you'll have all the instructions that Robin went over. We're recording this, so you'll get to see all the things that she did live if you want to follow along. It's pretty easy. So let's talk about the roadmap. For those of you that don't know, Microsoft does have a roadmap. I will put the address right here into the chat window for Teams so that you can go in and actually look at the roadmap. And Microsoft has been doing this for at least the last 10 years that I know of. And you could see that you can go in and filter by products or by platform, cloud instance, and so on. So they really try to give you an idea of what's coming up inside of their cloud environment. You can see that right now, and this I took today, so this is pretty current, there's 501 in development. They're rolling out 133 of them in the next couple of months, and they've already launched over 1,000 updates to the platform already. And just to give you, a quick synopsis, here's the ones that have been launched. And let me get rid of this little box here. From March to January, last December, and so on, you could see all the different things that they're actually rolling out. And here's the ones that are coming this month or within this next quarter. You can see a lot of it is Microsoft Teams. They're going to be doing a lot in Microsoft Teams coming forward, everything from, working with Zoom and WebEx meetings, and now tying them into Android devices. So it's not just a Teams device. It will be a device that actually does Zoom and WebEx and Teams all on the same device. They're going to have multi-language inside, if you guys use the transcriptions, not just for live events. As you probably know, in live event, you can actually have up to 6 different languages that it's transcribing to. You'll be able to do that now in meetings also. So it's stuff that's really coming around. I wanted to point out just some of the big ones that a lot of people have been asking me about. A lot of it having to do with SharePoint. So you'll be able to go in now and pair a channel with a corresponding SharePoint folder name. So right now, if you were to rename channels, it sometimes gets messed up on carrying all the documentation over. So now they've actually fixed that problem. And this new feature, will work in both your private channels and your standard channels so that you can actually have SharePoint and the SharePoint document libraries that you want to tie to that channel. You can do that. As you probably know, you can go up and it's going to create a SharePoint document library for the standard files for that channel, but you can also link additional SharePoint document libraries by going in, hitting the plus sign, selecting SharePoint, giving it a URL, and adding additional SharePoint document libraries to Teams. So really works pretty well to share information all the time. If you look at, this is something that a lot of people, myself included, have been asking for since the beginning of Teams, is to have a co-organizer. In other words, instead of just, for instance, myself, I set up these meetings and I'm the organizer. So if for some reason I'm on a plane or I take a week's vacation, we can have a co-organizer which will have the same ability to set up the options and do all the things that an organizer has that no one else has in the environment. So this is coming out this month, or as you can see, it says GA June 2022. Sometimes it will fall into July, but this is coming out any day now. You'll be able to do it in both the desktop and the web application. So pretty cool feature. I think, I've been waiting for this for quite a long time. So it really is something that holding meetings like we do all the time, it's nice to be not be the only one if you're stuck on another meeting and you're running late to have to worry about, getting that started when you're the organizer. Give control of teams for VDI. And I don't know about you guys, but VDI has become a pretty big part of what we've been doing with customers, especially, Windows 365, which used to be called the Azure Windows Desktop. It's, Windows 365. So now a user in that virtual desktop environment can give and take control during calls and meetings. That was a big problem that VDI was having. This is obviously, I think it's already rolled out. So if you're doing VDI, this is something that is now fixed. You should try it. If you're having problems with it, reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to help you with it. It's something I do every day for customers. So and remember, this is running VDI in Azure. And believe it or not, if you're running Citrix or if you're running VMware, same thing, because believe it or not, you're running Azure Virtual Desktop or Windows 365 as the base image that you're using, so that it will carry through for both Citrix and VMware also. So just in case you're running that up in the Azure cloud. First run experience for forms. Forms is another thing that we use quite a bit, and I know customers are using more and more of to, first of all, maybe even kick off workflows if you're using, Power Apps or Power Automate. Forms is becoming a pretty big part of the infrastructure. So now you can navigate through forms, templates, categories, and you can actually give business scenarios, pre-populated grab-and-go solutions that are now going to be out there. And as you can see, this is coming out again this month. Again, just wrapping that infrastructure around the Office 365 environment. I don't know if you've seen the latest thing, but they're actually coming out with a really cool add-on for Teams in the very near future for Outlook, so that you can run an app, not just the web app, but a real app for Outlook inside of Teams. Their whole philosophy is really to keep you in that same environment all day long, no matter what you're doing. So that's coming out soon. It wasn't on this breakout that I have here. I just saw it today in one of the blogs that I'm part of, and it looked pretty cool to me. Something that they've been talking about. For those of you that are running Viva, and Viva has become another big part of that, work experience that Microsoft's doing. You can see that Topics is a big part in mine. If you take a look at my, where's my, oops, went too far. My Teams environment, I run Insights. I also run Learning now inside of Viva Learning. So, this is part of the infrastructure that you can now have inside of your Teams environment is, get these people contributing. Learning is a great platform to learn different skills inside and outside of the Microsoft environment. Topics is a great way to keep the people inside of your corporation, inside of your Teams environment. It's a way to publish a page that will be very, very topical to that group that you want to deploy it to. So for instance, if you had a team that just did HR or sales or manufacturing or whatever it might be, you could have something that's specific for that group of people inside of this Viva Topics section. So great way to keep your people informed and up to date about what's going on inside the corporation. So those are just some of the quick ones that I found that I thought were good. Follow that link. You can filter it out any way you want, and we'll make sure that we help you with anything that you're looking for inside of that roadmap. So with that, let me just get back here, and I will stop sharing and see if there's any quick questions that we might have here. So let's take a look. I don't see anything. I know we're coming up here to 2:26, so we're getting right on time. It worked out really good. Robin, thank you very much for doing this today. I think Robin had to hop off. She's a real busy person. Melissa, it's always great to have you here. We also have Sam Moore, part of the team that's on here with us. Anything you want to add, Melissa, while we're on?
No, but thank you everybody for joining, and stay tuned for the July topics that should be coming soon.
All right, thanks everyone for joining in. We'll try to, bring out some real important topics. If you want to suggest anything, please get a hold of Melissa, get a hold of me, put it in the chat here for this meeting, and we'll try to include it in our July Tune-In Tuesdays. I know we're not going to be doing it the week of July 4th because of the holiday, but we will be doing it the following weeks. With that, have a great day and a great week.